So I'm back, and this is a step-by-step video on how to buy a house in Canada. It can be a very daunting and very irritating and very depressing process because most of the time, most people don't have the tools or the skills or know how to get through this process without stressing themselves the hell out. And in this video, that's what we're talking about. Let's go. So first things first, sit with your mortgage broker, sit with a mortgage specialist. The reason why you're sitting with your mortgage specialist is to make sure that you understand how much a bank is going to comfortably give you or loan you to be able to buy a house. So in short terms, you need to sit with a mortgage specialist so that you know how much of a mortgage a bank is going to give you. Normally, once you're done with this process, a mortgage specialist, a good mortgage specialist, is going to give you something called a pre-approval letter. And this pre-approval letter just simply states that when you find the house of your dreams, the bank is going to give you, for example, $400,000 to put towards buying that house as a loan. And here's something that's very, very important. You need to learn about mortgages. You need to learn about interest rates. You need to learn about credit scores before you sit down with your mortgage broker. If you expect your mortgage broker to walk you through the intricacies of all these things while he's searching for your mortgage, you're going to be handicapped in a very, very bad way. It's the difference between walking into a room and understanding, even if it's just the basics of mortgages, to get the conversation to a place where it's going to serve you best, and walking into a room expecting someone to teach you everything that they know about mortgages. Mortgage brokers are very, very busy people. They do not have that time. And even though they will give you a fantastic service, you have the opportunity to raise the level of that service once you get more knowledgeable about mortgages. And to get you more knowledgeable about mortgages, I've done a fantastic video on mortgages. There's a link in the description. It's going to walk you through what you need to know and how you need to prepare to get into this conversation and find something that works best for your situation. Number 2, mortgages and down payments go hand in hand. So this is the part where you start to put together your down payments with the knowledge of how much a bank is willing to give you, because now you have all the tools to make sure that you understand exactly what your budget is before you move on to the next stage. So down payments in Ontario, down payments in Canada also have kind of a learning curve. But don't worry, I've already done a video that will teach you what you need to know about down payments in Ontario and Canada. Link is also in the description. Don't worry about it. I've got you. Let's move on to number 3. So far, you start with a mortgage broker. You've gotten your pre-approval. You understand what down payments are. You've put together your down payment. Now is the time to start putting together the criteria for what you want in a house so that you pick a house that makes you happy. And before you ask, yes, I've already done a video that walks you through this process of picking a house that will make you happy. The link is also in the description. But as a quick refresher, the reason why you're doing this is to make sure that you don't make the same mistake that 99.999% of house hunters or home searchers make when they're looking for a place to call their home. They run onto a website, they search for months on end, looking for something that they might not find, or looking for something that will not essentially make them very happy, that they end up having to manage. So to do this effectively, go to the link in the description. Watch the How to Choose a House That Makes You Happy video. It's going to help you understand how to choose a house that works for your personality, for your persona, for your situation, just so that you don't, once again, go through this rigmarole. And to help you do that, in addition to that video, I've also put a link that will help you itemize these things in a very organized fashion. So as a refresher, take the time to understand what you want in a house. If you need some help, there's a link in the description detailing how to choose a house that will make you happy. And once you're done with that and you have your criteria and you're set to go, you can move on to number 4. And it is at this stage that you involve one of the most important people that you're ever going to have as an ally in this your house hunting journey. And yes, I'm talking about a realtor. A realtor is going to take your criteria, put that criteria against all the tools that they have in their toolbox to find you all the properties that you need that will match your criteria and that will make you happy. So if you're working with me, for example, I'm going to provide you 5 of the best, the tippity top properties that you're ever going to find on the market, and these properties will fit your criteria like a glove. And because you've taken the time to understand what you want, it makes the process for any realtor a lot more effective in terms of finding you exactly what you need without going through hundreds and hundreds of very tiresome back and forths for every party concerned. And once I've given you those 5 properties that fit your criteria, we can then move on to number 5. And this is the exciting part, the part that you see in all the movies going for showings. So we will go to each and every one of these 5 properties, and you will search for the one that works best for your vibe, for your spirits, for your emotions. This is the part of the house hunting journey that can finally involve your emotions. It's safe to do so because we've already done the groundwork of specifying things according to your criteria, getting your down payment ready, getting your mortgage pre-approval ready. So all that thinking, all that heavy lifting isn't being done at this stage. This is also a very, very hard point of frustration and confusion for quite a lot of people, because when they are done with viewing the house, down the line, they have to go back and do all the things that we spoke about in the beginning of this video. And at this stage, most hearts are broken because they go and they find out that they can't afford the house, and they've wasted a lot of time and energy. So make sure you follow this step by step. It's easy, makes things easy for everyone. And once we've gone through all those houses and you found the one that works with your spirit, we can then move on to number 6, which is also, for me personally, the most exciting part of this entire journey. Putting in an offer. This is where I get to fight for you and negotiate everything for you. This is where you start to see more of the value of a realtor. Because in putting in an offer, we're doing 3 very important things. First thing, I'm going to walk you through that entire offer. I'm putting it up on offer right here. I should be scrolling on your screen right now. And you can see that it's a lot to go through. If you miss one single thing on this offer, it can spell disaster for you because it's a binding contract and you don't want to get into a binding contract with your eyes closed. You need someone to guide you through this contract, even if it's just for the first time. And we've been making very, very key decisions. One of those decisions is what to pay for the house. You do not want to overpay for a house because you're leaving money on the table, money that you can use for other things in your life. And to make sure you're not overpaying for a house, I will go and do things like comparative market analysis, where I'm taking the specifications of your house, for example, a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom house with 1,400 square feet, and looking for similar properties in the area that probably recently just sold. So for example, if a comparative property to yours sold for $500,000 last week, at least we have a benchmark to know that, okay, we should ideally be paying around this amount of money, pending different factors that I will then use to compare and make sure that we arrive at a figure that works for the situation and doesn't irritate the seller and lead to us losing that property. The second thing is that I'm going to be putting in conditions and clauses for you. And what does this mean? So most of the time when you're putting in an offer for a house, you're also putting in a deposit. So a deposit is an amount of money that you put in or that you give the seller to show them that you're serious about buying the house. Other people will define it as something else, but this is what it usually is. You want to buy a $500,000 house, you give the seller of the house $25,000 just to show that you're serious about buying the house, and make them commit to signing that offer and disregarding all the others. Once you've done this, that money has gone. You might never see that money again, especially if that offer is accepted. Even worse, you might never see that money again if you go into an offer or if you place an offer on a house and for some reason you cannot fulfill the conditions of that offer. And the reason why we always add conditions and clauses, for example, is to protect things like that. You've worked very hard for that $25,000. It's not money you want to be giving people just because you're nice. You want to make sure that if there's anything wrong with that house, anything that you don't like, any little thing that you do not like, you make sure you put a condition in the offer stating that if you find something like that, the seller of the house has to give you back your money and you have all authorities to walk away from that contract without getting sued, because that can happen. And those are the types of things that we will be putting in as conditions and clauses in your contract. Other conditions and clauses include things like making sure that the bank doesn't walk back on their promise to give you a mortgage, because if they walk back on their promise to give you a mortgage and you don't have a condition or a clause in your offer to the seller stating that if the bank does that, you get your deposit back and you are able to walk away from the property without any troubles, you're in for a lot of trouble. What happens in these situations is that the seller has the right to sue you because you've wasted their time. They have the right to keep your deposit, once again, because you've wasted their time, and they have the right to sue you because they lost other people, other serious buyers that would have bought that house. You've lost them money and they're going to get that lost money from you if you do not have the appropriate conditions in your offer to the seller. Also, another example of a condition is home inspection. You don't want to buy a house and find out that the house has termites, or find out that the house has asbestos or formaldehyde or things in the house that will make your life a living hell. You need to put in conditions to make sure that if during a house inspection, things like that are found, you have the ability to walk away once again with your deposit, with your hard-earned money, and without having the fear of getting sued by anyone. So these are the things that we will be examining and putting in the contract, putting in the offer before we send it off for your seller to sign off and accept. Now, once your seller has accepted your offer, we then move on to invite the Avengers.
Avengers! Assemble.
And by the Avengers, I mean the professionals that will come in to make sure that that house that you want to buy is not going to turn out to be a lemon down the line. So we're going to involve a lawyer. A real estate lawyer is going to check things in the back end, like who really owns the house and things that of that gravity, just so that you don't buy a house from somebody that is not the real owner. A home appraiser is going to come in and help us to understand how much that house is actually worth. Because once again, you need to make sure you are not overpaying for a house and you're not scaring away your bank by trying to buy a house that's worth $400,000 for $700,000, for example. Your bank isn't going to deal with you. Your bank isn't going to give you more money to get that mortgage. This is why we put in these conditions, because when your home appraiser comes back, at least you have some certain level of calm and peace of mind that your house is actually worth the amount of money that the bank is going to give you to buy it for. Because once again, the last thing you want to be chasing is a $700,000 house when you only have $500,000 worth of cash. This is a disaster that catches a lot of people unawares, and this is why we put in that mortgage clause to make sure that if you can't get that mortgage, you can easily walk away without having to damage your financial future. We'll also be involving professionals like your home inspector, people that will come and check the basements, check the walls, check that you don't have any rats, check that the windows are good, check that everything in your house is the way it's supposed to be. And if you find anything that's wrong with that house, once again, because you've put in that clause, once that home inspection report comes back and you find anything that is in that house, you have two choices. You can either walk away or decide that you can take care of those things later. You can weigh your options and you can move forward. And this is why we include those conditions in your offer to your seller before you finally commit. Also, we'll be involving an insurance broker to make sure that you can actually insure that house. You don't want a situation where you are buying a house that no one wants to insure. In fact, if you buy a house that no one wants to insure, your bank isn't going to give you that money. So these are the types of professionals that will be involving in purchasing your house, just to make sure that you're not purchasing something that is not worth it, that is not going to make you happy, or that does not live up to the standards of how it was advertised. And once these things check out, we then move on to closing. And this is where you start to pay things called closing costs. I'll discuss closing costs in my next video, just so that you don't get blindsided by all the costs that you will incur when you're closing your house and getting your keys. On closing day, your lawyer is going to receive the money, the mortgage from your bank. You've already given a deposit, you've already done the math, and all that money that's supposed to go to your seller is being transferred from your lawyer to your seller. And once the seller has confirmed that they received the money, guess what? You're good to go. You get your keys and you move in. This reminds me, one of the professionals that I will be recommending to you to help you move in, a moving company. This is what realtors do for you. They gather all these things that you ordinarily have to do by yourself, and they make it very appealing to execute, because most of the time we are doing the execution on your behalf. So as a recap, number one, sit with a mortgage broker. Let them tell you how much a bank is willing to loan you to buy a house. Number two, get together your down payments. Make sure you understand the rules of both a mortgage and a down payment so that you don't get blindsided. Number three, this is where you start to put down the criteria, everything you want in your house in an organized fashion. Use all the links in the description. These links will help you avoid most of the headaches that most people will face when they're looking for a house to buy. Number four, take that criteria and give it to a realtor. This realtor is going to save you the stress, save you the hours, save you the months, and keep in mind, save you the possible years of looking for a house that will work for you. Trust me, I've seen people searching for a house for years and they couldn't find what they were looking for. And the moment they found a realtor, within a couple of weeks, they found what they needed without even breaking a sweat. So take your criteria, give it to a realtor. Now, this realtor is going to find you, for example, when you're working with me, 5 properties that fit within your criteria. After you find these properties and you inspect these properties, by going to these properties, you will then choose the one that works with your vibe, your spirit, your emotions. This is safe to do because you've already done your homework. You're not going to make a mistake at this stage. Next, when you find the house of your dreams, the house that works with your emotions the most, instruct your realtor to put in an offer. Once your realtor has put in the appropriate conditions to protect you from any bad things that may happen, and your seller has accepted that offer, we then call in the Avengers. Those are the professionals that will help you ensure that you're not buying a house that is going to destroy your financial future. And once all those things have been sorted and they give you the ALK to move ahead, you can then pay your closing fees, get your keys, and move in like a boss. Now, if you're looking to buy a house and you need someone to walk you through this, I've left my contact details in the description. I've left my booking links in the description. I've left quite a lot of resources that you need to make this house hunting process, house choosing process, this buying a house in Canada process as easy as possible. Let's get this thing done for you. I'm on standby. My name is Iban Macaulay. I'm your realtor for life. Let's get these keys. Let's go. See you in the next one where I'm discussing closing fees so that I don't get blindsided. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.